Today we're going to learn the concept of paradiddles to create a fast and effective warm-up for the pipes. Stay tuned. Well, hello everybody, I'm Willis Bagpiper, and on this channel I make videos to make you a stronger and more confident piper. If you like this kind of content, please think about giving the video a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that bell icon to be notified of when I post new videos. I also teach Skype and online lessons if you want more personalized instruction, but more on that later. So getting your fingers warmed up and ready to play is very important. It should be part of everybody's practice routine. The first time we move our fingers on this shouldn't be while trying to play a melody. It should be from a warm-up exercise of some sort. I've posted several over the years. There'll be a card up here to my ultimate 1-minute warm-up. I've wanted to come up with a warm-up that would be very effective for the beginner to start training all of your fingers to move in the ways you need to move them on the pipes. And I came upon the idea of a paradiddle. So what is a paradiddle? Well, in drumming, that would be like right, left, right, right. That's pattern 1. And then left, right, left, left. Well, I got to thinking. In the description below, there's a link to the PDF document you see here, so go ahead, print that out, have it on a tablet, put it in front of you so you can follow along. In due time for the beginner, we're going to be learning grace notes, and for the intermediate and advanced player, you're already playing grace notes, but you probably want them snugger, better, smaller, more accurate, more consistent, and the paradiddle is a perfect way to do that. So how are we going to go about doing this? Well, here we're going to start in this case on a low A. And you can see here, I have on page 2 of the document, the first 8 basic patterns that we're going to be learning here. But these are all from a low A. So that'll be everything covered except for the bottom pinky. Now from here, to do a paradiddle, rather than left and right, I want to think more like top and bottom. So it'll be top, bottom, top, top. That'll be pattern 1. And then bottom, top, bottom, bottom. But let's describe what this motion should be like. It should be about 1 centimeter or less tall. It should be fairly quick but relaxed on the way up, but a bit of a smack down. I talk about, it should feel like you're kind of smushing an ant under your finger. Thwack, thwack. You don't want it big and bloopy. That is not what we want. We want a blip. In fact, that's what we're going to call them here, our blips. These ultimately will become grace notes, but for the beginner, I don't want to make this more complicated than it needs to be. We're just going to be blipping out some notes, but we're going to be blipping, not blooping. So it's a quick but controlled lift and down. Thwack, thwack. So not too high and nice kind of, there's a little bit of tension in the close. Now, I'm not gripping the whole thing. I'm not pinching the chanter super hard to get them out. But there is a certain amount of force on the way down, and then I make sure that I let up the tension on my fingers. So you can see we're going to do this pattern, and the pattern is going to be on screen, and it's going to be on the page as well. So we're going to go top, bottom, top, top for pattern 1, and then bottom, top, bottom, bottom. And as we do this, it's going to be 1 blip per beat as we start. Let's go ahead and give this a try. I got my metronome set here at 75. This is the Tempo app by Frozen Ape, but it doesn't really matter what metronome app you're using. Just make sure you're comfortable and confident with your ability to use it. So when I'm doing this, I'm coming in with the blip, if you will. So my finger at the very beginning might be a little higher than it'll be through the rest of it. As soon as I start blowing through the chanter, I'm going to lower whichever finger is indicated in the exercise. Many of the tunes we're going to play, in fact, probably most of the tunes we're going to play, are going to start with these kind of motions at the top, so we might as well start practicing them now. So I want to put each blip on the beat. Bop, 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 bop. Let's give it a go. So ready, go. Set the metronome at whatever speed you need. Again, I have it at 75. If you do this and you can't do it accurately at 75, feel free to slow it down. What matters most right now is both that the motions are blips, not bloops, not... We don't want anything that big. Small motions. And it's also very important that we're getting the pattern right, that we're going top, bottom, top, top, bottom, top, bottom, bottom. It matters more than you think. One of the things that makes this pattern so cool is that after you practice it for a while, and it's going to feel really weird at first, but after you practice it for a while, it's going to be able to be sped up a lot. This is one of the ways drummers are actually able to play as fast as they do, because just going back and forth with your hands can be very hard to control. But actually having this pattern built in gives, well, in the case of a drummer, the extra sticking on the one beat there gives their other hand a chance to rest, and vice versa. And that kind of controlled extra stress and rest between the hands is easier to time and pulse, and you can get a more even, quick series of notes. So something to keep in mind. So the pattern, very important. But when you can reliably play the pattern and play the grace notes correctly, go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be the same pattern, but now on the middle fingers. Yeah, the middle fingers. We're still going to be in an A position, but now with the middles. So ready, go. All right, for the next exercise, we're going to actually now be on an E rather than a low A. And on E, we're going to be doing it between the top pointer and the top middle. So now rather than going between hands, we're staying on the same hand. So this can prove a little bit more challenging. While doing this, try to make sure your grace notes are the same size. In fact, I don't even mind if you look down at your fingers on the chanter while you're doing this. I know a lot of people would say, you can't do that. But for now, for here, I think it's a good idea. So if you're looking down your chanter and you see that your pointer finger blip is relatively small, but your middle finger blip is super big, think about what you need to do to bring that middle finger down and have them be the same height and the same size, same length of time. Anyways, let's try this at 75. So, ready, go. And you're free to do these as many times in a row as you need it. And for more advanced players, stay tuned. I'm going to tell you how you can take this to the next level. Next, we're going to do this from the note C. So from a C position, we're going to be going back to just the two pointer fingers. But this time, the bottom pointer finger might feel a little bit more loose or open because you have your middle finger floating. So just because this finger is up, I don't want this grace note to be any bigger. So again, maybe look down at your hands while you're doing this and try to make sure that the two grace notes remain right about the same height and length. So, ready, go. All right, let's keep on moving on. Now we're going to go down to a low G, everything down. And now we're going to start with the ring finger and the pointer finger. I'm going to give this finger a little bit of a break. It's gotten quite a bit of use lately. We're going to do the top ring finger and the bottom pointer finger. Again, look down at your fingers if needed. Try to keep the grace notes small, accurate, right on the click of your metronome, whatever it happens to be set at. Let's give this a try. So, ready, go. The next one on low G, we're going to do the top ring finger and the bottom ring finger. This one can be nice and tricky. In fact, I'm not even going to promise that mine's exactly the same length as this one. I'm doing my best. I only started doing this a few weeks ago myself, but man, it has really already helped my fingering and it's helped many of my students. So this is worth doing. So anyways, we're going between the ring fingers on low G. So it's from a closed position with that bottom ring finger. So 1, 2, ready, go. If you notice they were big, you notice they weren't quite in time, keep working it, maybe slow the metronome down, do what you need to do to try to get your grace notes controlled and in the right pattern. All right, so now we're going to do a single-handed one on the bottom hand now. So from here, again on low G, we're going to do the pointer finger and then the middle finger for this one. This will eventually become an embellishment called a darado, but that's not going to be covered in the basics series. It's a very advanced embellishment, but one, if you start getting your grace notes under control now, when it shows up, you're not going to have any problems with it. So, ready, go. And then, to finish this page, we're going to go to a D for the first time here, and now we're going back to the top hand. We're going to do the top pointer and the top ring. And this is a good place. While we've already done some other ring finger ones, it feels more exposed because this hand is up and out of the way. So this is a good time to perhaps experiment with where you want to hold your pinky Ultimately, I don't care. Wherever you can get this blip of a motion to be the same size as this blip of a motion is where I want your pinky. For me, it happens to be up top. For other people, it happens to be tucked. I don't care. I just want the finger to be in the place you need it to be so that you can control that E grace note the way you need to. All right, let's do this one. So, ready, go. Before we move on to the next section where we deal with our pinky and our thumb and some lateral sideways motions, I did want to show how you can take this to the next level as a more advanced player. So even though we're still at 75 here, I want you to go through this pattern once with it at 75, and then I want you to do it at exactly twice the speed. So that's equivalent of 150. So the metronome won't change, but you'll do the pattern twice as quickly, and I want you to go through that twice. I'll show you that with the low A with the 2 pointer fingers. So ready, go. That is quite a bit more challenging now. What if we did that, oh, I don't know, at 120? Ready, go. This is something even I'm growing and learning from. I can't wait to be able to do this at even faster speeds than this, clean and accurately, but take your time getting there. It's about getting your fingers warmed up. Now, let's move on to the really crazy ones. Now, the next one is going to involve the pinky, and the first thing I want to do is actually a test on the flexibility of your pinky. This is going to eventually evolve into an embellishment called a burl, and I have a video on burls up here, but I've learned some stuff since then, and I want to share it with you guys. So I want you to take your bottom hand. For most people, that's going to be their right hand. But whichever hand you're covering the bottom holes with, I want you to take it and put it face up. Then I want you to grab your pointer, middle, and ring finger with your other hand. I want you to try to curl your pinky back into your palm. And I want you to notice, I'm not exaggerating, that is as far back as I can go without straining. That's really good, but boom, it comes to a hard stop. Many people, more than half, some people believe as high as 80%, can actually readily curl that all the way into their wrist like a scorpion tail without these fingers coming along with it. If you're fortunate enough to be able to curl that finger down, the good news is you're going to be able to likely develop a burl called a 7, and we're going to start practicing that today. If you cannot, don't worry, my burl works just fine, but it's going to be different. We'll cover that in just a little bit, so stay tuned. This is going to be about the folks that have that kind of dexterity to curl that back while these fingers are straight. So what I want you guys to do, this time we're going to start with the finger above the hole, and as soon as we start blowing, we're going to sweep down past it. So it's a lateral motion of the finger down from above the bottom tone hole to below it, and then all I want you to do is to curl back. If you just curl back without even thinking about lifting, just the curling motion is going to raise the finger upward and drag it over the hole. This may take several attempts to get right. That's just fine. We're not in any hurry here. So down and back. But we're going to use this same idea for the paradiddle. So in this case, we're going to sweep down and back and down and down. We're going to curl back, go down, curl back, curl back. So we're going to take that, turn it into a paradiddle pattern so that you have complete control over both parts of this motion. Ready, go. So again, if you can curl your finger back, I'd recommend you doing that. That said, if you feel any sort of discomfort in the curling motion or any sort of clicking, you feel like your finger's kind of grabbing on things, I wouldn't do that one. So that could lead to tendonitis and trigger finger and other things. But for most people, that tends to be a better, faster, easier burl or double sweeping kind of thing motion to do. So if you're like me and you don't have that flexibility, it's really not a problem. We're just going to do this slightly different. Instead of starting above and going below, I find it most useful to start from underneath actually and sweep up across the hole and then down across the hole. This one is just lateral finger motions with a little bit of lifting if needed, but I'm not going too far up or off the chanter. Try to get them on the beat. Try to make sure the pattern stays correct. Now let's see if I can do once slowly through this pattern and then twice more quickly through this pattern with these sweeps. Not too bad. And over time, I'm going to try to increase that speed. I'm going to try to increase my dexterity and control of my pinky. And you can do the exact same thing with the 7, the down and curl one. I'm not going to attempt that one fast. I don't think it would work with my hand, but it may well work for you. And then the final one I want to talk about here is your thumb. Now, most everyone has a pretty dexterous thumb, so this doesn't tend to be too difficult for folks. It's going to be in the same pattern that we just did for the sweeping burl. But if you kind of glossed over that because that wasn't your burl, then you can stay tuned now. So here, we're going to start below that hole, sweep up and across, sweep down and across, and then sweep up. And then pattern 2, we're going to start down, up, and then down and down. And when we're doing the motion, we're starting from just below the hole, and I'm sweeping down and past it. I am coming off the chanter, but I'm not coming off the chanter like super far. I'm not trying to like give you a thumbs up or anything. But you don't have to keep it on the chanter, but try to control the motion as best you can. Ready, go. And then let's try that once slowly and then twice at double speed. And again, as that gets easier to do, feel free to go ahead and speed it up. So at the end of this all, there are 10 or 11, depending on how you count it, total exercises. If you want to work your pinky out both ways, you're welcome to. I personally would try to find one that fits your hand better, feels a little bit better, and really dig in with that. But it's okay to try to learn both too. I mean, it's good having options. But I'm going to do the 8 on this page and then the 2 sweeping ones on this page, all at 75, once slow, 2 times fast, and we'll see how I do. And just like that, in just a few moments, you've done all of the motions that your fingers will either eventually need to do for the bagpipe music you want to play, or it'll start improving the grace notes you're already playing in your existing repertoire. So really, try this method out. It is quite challenging to do. I've been paradiddling for a few weeks now, and it's still a little challenging. I'm not trying to imply what I just played was absolutely perfect, but it gives you an idea of what we're shooting for. And again, for the beginner, if 75 is too fast, by all means, slow the metronome down. Do what you need to do at the speed you need to do it so that it's good, clean, and accurate. But remember, we want blips, not bloops. Where you should take the time to think about how to move that finger correctly is on the long notes between them, not when that finger's in the air. Once it's in the air, bang, it's got to kind of get back on that chanter. We want to train our fingers, especially for the adult learners out there, to be small. We don't want to start training them and getting kind of instinctive, big, loose motions. That's going to make it very hard to have good, clean, clear embellishments in the future. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you got something out of this video, please think about giving it a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that bell icon to be notified of when I post new videos. I also have a Patreon where as little as $1 a month goes a really long way to help support the channel. You'll see names of folks scrolling up. These are people that contribute monthly to the channel. They get perks like early access to videos and other things. So go check that out, add your name to this list, head over to my Patreon. I also teach Skype and online lessons. Go ahead and head over to www.commandyourbagpipe.com or email me at the address you see here, and we'll get you going. I'm working with folks from all over the planet, and I hope to work with you soon. I also have some Command Your Bagpipe merchandise with hats and t-shirts and cups and all sorts of other things. Go check that out, get some bagpipe merchandise, and let the world know that you command your bagpipe. All right, everybody, I'm Matt Willis Bagpiper, and until next time, cheers.